Hi guys, it is April from Getting Huggo with It. Today is round 4 of my KonMari with me, where I go through a bookshelf and declutter. I either keep them or let them go. It'll be cathartic. Let's do this. So I started this whole series because my bookshelves look a mess. Like, they are double stacked in some cases. They don't look good. Today we're attacking a shelf. That was very much my mom inspired when she organizes stuff. She says, I'm gonna attack it. She's an Aries. It all makes sense for her. But yeah, so I'm going to attack a bookshelf of thrillers. There might be a couple of horror in here, but they're mostly thrillers, so this should be fun. Let's dive in. So I've got 29 books on this little shelf, and the aim is to dwindle it down to 20. So only 20 can be on that shelf in the end. I mean, it can be less. That would be great. I also am allowing myself to put 2 books on a limbo shelf. So these are books that I'm just not sure about, but I'm not quite ready to get rid of them either. So let's dive in and see how I do. The first book is Where They Found Her by Kimberly McCreight. This is a book that I cannot read right now. It is about a university town, and in the wooded area near this town, there is found a newborn baby dead, and we are diving into what happened, and we follow a journalist who's trying to uncover the story. She has just recently lost her own baby, and so it's all very fresh for her. I can't read this anytime soon, but I do want to keep it because the storyline does really intrigue me, even though it's really hard. So I'm going to keep it. Next up is The Good Daughter by Heron Slaughter. I really enjoyed this book. This is about a family who's kind of dwindled over the years because as kids, they witnessed their mother's death. She is killed in a very terrible way. It kind of breaks down these kids. They come together in the end after more trauma has been unleashed on the town. One of the daughters has moved away from the town, but she comes back and everything kind of rises up again. And I really enjoyed this. The characters in here were absolutely wonderful. This is still the only thriller that's ever made me cry. How many people can say a thriller has made them cry? I don't know, but I loved it, so I'm keeping it. Another book I'm keeping is The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor. I really enjoyed this book. It's very much a nod to Stephen King's It. So if you liked that, or even if you didn't, because I wasn't blown away by it, I really enjoyed this. It's about a group of kids in the summer. They draw chalk men at each other's driveways to say, okay, today we're going to the park. Today we're doing this. When all of a sudden there are chalk men showing up at the bottom of their driveways that none of them have made, and they stumble upon a horrific crime scene. Horrific. Like, if your kid found this, you'd have them in therapy for a long time. I really enjoyed it, and so I'm keeping this. Oh yeah, I can't get rid of this one. This is The Ice Twins. This is about twins. One of them dies very suddenly, and the other survives. And they kind of move on with their lives. Obviously, they're devastated by the loss of one of the twins. But over that time, this one twin starts saying, actually, I'm the other one. And she kind of takes on the persona, at least, of the other twin. And I don't know how you would handle that. Is she dealing with immense grief and that's why she's doing it? Is she kind of a creepy kid? I have no idea, but I want to know and I want to keep this. Oh yeah, I really liked this book. It's Disclaimer by Renee Knight. Renee Knight writes very character-based thrillers. This one is about a woman who finds a book on her bedside table or somewhere in her house She's like, I've never seen this book before. She starts reading it. She's like, oh my God, this is my life, and this is my deepest, darkest secret that I don't want anyone to know about. Who knows about me? It's very creepy, but I really enjoyed it, so I'm keeping it. I just got this one recently. It's The Secrets She Keeps, and this is about two pregnant women, and I think one of the pregnant women stalks the other. There's something about creepy women that I am just like hooked on. Like, I need to know. As soon as there's a creepy woman involved, I just can't help myself. So I'm definitely gonna keep this one. Next up is 7 Days. I was sent this unsolicited by a publisher, and I'm not sure about this one. So this is about a man who finds that his 7-year-old daughter has been, I think, killed in a very terrible way, and he seeks revenge on the killer. In some ways, I think that's so screwed up, and in other ways, I can kind of understand. I think I might put this on the limbo pile because I'm just not sure, so we'll see. Another book I was sent unsolicited is Her One Mistake. This is about friends. One of the friends asks her other friend, like, can you take care of my daughter for a while? I think it was her daughter, not her son, or her children. So there are several children. And, you know, she says, yes, you're my friend. I'll be happy to take care of your kids. Something bad happens while that is going on. I don't know if anyone dies or not, but there's this immense tension between the two. This strikes me as a little bit too domestic thrillery for me. It might be just too light on the scare factor. So I'm gonna let this one go. A very controversial book, The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. I really enjoyed this. This is about a woman who stays inside all the time. She drinks too much. She, I think she has like a syndrome or an issue where she's not able to go outside. She can't. And so she stays inside and like peers over through the window at the neighbors, and one night she sees something she shouldn't have. She sees something devastating, and she thinks that she needs to get to the bottom of it. I really liked it, so I'm keeping it. Next is Everything You Want Me to Be by Mindy Medja. This is about a teenage girl who is found dead, and you're trying to find out who done it. So there's a police detective that you follow, and you also follow her English teacher, and you follow her perspective leading up to her own death. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars, but you know what? I think I'm gonna let it go and let someone else read this. Next up is The Favorite Sister by Jessica Knoll. This one sounds like a lot of fun. It's about a reality TV show where there's like sisters, then it's like a Real Housewives kind of vibe. It's called Gold Diggers, so that should indicate everything to you. At the end of it though, one of the people on this show ends up dead. So it sounds like a lot of fun. I'm going to keep it. This would be so good for summer. I just think I will enjoy it for summer, or like in between times where The Bachelor or Bachelorette isn't on. So I'm going to keep it. Ooh, you can never pry this out of my hands. Gillian Flynn's Sharp Objects. Oh man, I loved this book. This is about a reporter who goes home to her hometown because there are murders happening to little girls. They're taking out all of their teeth, and I think they strangle them as well, and they're just horrific murders. And she goes home, and there's a lot of dynamics in her family that's just not good. So it's multi-layered, lots of character development. It's so creepy and very graphic. So keeping it. I am also going to be keeping All These Beautiful Strangers. This is about a girl whose mother just one day up and leaves. She just vanishes. And there's always this hole in her heart. She doesn't know what to make of her mother's absence. She is sent to boarding school, I think. She's sent to at least like a prestigious New England school, and to become a popular person at the school, she has to play this game. And the game is a semester-long, diabolical, high-stakes scavenger hunt that will jeopardize her friendships, her reputation, and even her place at Knollwood. And I think her past and present kind of interweave. Just sounds wonderful, and I'm definitely keeping this one. Next up is something I was also sent unsolicited, and that is Supermarket, and it's about a guy who works at a supermarket, and he arrives to work one day and finds that there's a crime scene there. I don't know if this is for me. I know it's a thriller, but I just don't know. It's written by like a recording artist. And not that recording artists can't write, but I just don't know if I want to spend time reading this. So I think I'm going to let it go and let someone else read it. Next is The Couple Next Door by Sherry Lapina. This was a very popular book a few years ago, and this is about a couple who leave their baby at home because they're just going next door for dinner, and then they come home and I think the baby has disappeared. Of course, all eyes point towards the parents. They think the parents did something to the baby, and it's about what they're hiding. I am going to put this on my limbo shelf because I'm curious about this book, but I still haven't picked it up after all of this time. And I've heard very mixed things about Sherry Lapina's writing, so I'm gonna put it aside. Another Sherry Lapina is A Stranger in the House. This is about a woman who can't really rely on her memories. So she's 1 second at home making dinner, and then the next second the phone rings and you jump into your car and race to a neighborhood you thought you'd never visit. And then you remember nothing. I'm gonna let it go. I just don't know if this is going to be for me. And the whole memory loss thing can be done very well, but if I've already heard very mixed things about the author's writing, this could be a crutch kind of storyline, so I'm gonna let it go. Okay, this one's had a lot of controversy. Like, you either love it or you hate it. It's Fierce Kingdom by Jen Phillips. This is about a mother and son who go to the zoo regularly. While they're there, a gunman comes into the zoo and opens fire, and so this mother is trying to protect her son from this killer. And it's kind of a what would you do in this situation kind of book. I want to keep this. I know that it doesn't have the best reviews, but I still want to keep this because it just sounds like it's a very different kind of thriller in my mind, so I want to keep it. This one can go. It's Triptych by Heron Slaughter, only because I have decided to go way back to the beginning and read the Grant County series before I start reading the Will Trent series. Yeah, so I'm gonna let this go. I'm also trying to collect like a nicer version of all of her detective stuff, so that's gonna go. I couldn't get rid of this one. Classic! And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I read this, I think, a couple of summers ago, and I just loved it. This is about 10 people who are invited to this beautiful home, but it's on an island, and one by one, they're being killed off. Why and who's doing it? It was so good. I'm keeping it. So wonderful. Another one I'd really like to keep is Crooked Letter, Crooked Letter. This is about two boys who were best friends up until a time when one of them takes a girl to a drive-in movie theater, and she is never seen again. And I think like 20 years pass and they come back together somehow. Another girl has disappeared from the town and they're kind of forced to see each other and kind of sort it out. So I want to keep this. Okay, another book that I'm not sure about because it's a detective series, but I'm not wanting to give up on before I give it a go. It's Still Life by Louise Penny. I know there are a lot of Louise Penny fans out there. I don't know if I'll be a fan or not. I don't really like detective stuff, so I'm assuming I won't like it. But it's supposed to be like a cozy mystery where you follow Inspector Gamache. He seems to go back time and time again to the tiny village of Three Pines. I think it takes place in Quebec, so that's nice. In this case, this is the first book in the series. One of the villagers is found with an arrow wound in her heart, and he has to find out what happened. So I'd like to keep this, but this is very hopeful keep. I don't think I'll probably like it. Oh, I'm gonna get rid of this one. It's I Am Pilgrim. This is about basically insanity happening in the world. People are being beheaded. There are smoldering human remains on a remote mountainside, and there's something that connects all of them together, and it's this guy who links them. And I just don't think that I'm gonna be someone who loves reading about this. I would watch the movie if there was a movie. But you know what I mean? Sometimes you just don't want to read it and commit that much time to it. Oh, yes, I'm keeping Gone Girl for sure. Gone Girl is basically anything by Gillian Flynn I'll keep because I love her so much. This is about a couple who seem to have it all on the outside. One day, Amy in the couple disappears and all eyes point to her husband. They find Amy's diary and it suggests that he was cheating on her, and was he trying to get rid of her? But Amy is not a force to be reckoned with. I really loved this. Amy is one of my favorite characters. I don't know what that says about me, but she is, so I'm keeping that. I'm also going to keep The Silent Wife by A.S.A. Harrison. This is about a couple who are not doing well in their marriage in any way, shape, or form. I think you know to begin with that she kills him, and you find out why and how and everything. I've heard very mixed things about this, but the author died after writing this. This was a book she'd wanted written for a very long time. She did write 4 nonfiction books, but this is the one fiction she'd been wanting to write. So I'd like to read it. I'd like to know what she was, thinking in her dying days. So I want to read this. Next is The Girls in the Garden by Lisa Jewell. And this is about an apartment complex that they all look out onto this shared garden. One day, a little girl is hurt very badly during a neighborhood party in this garden, and it dives into what happened. And I do want to read this. I've heard kind of mixed things about it, but it's always intrigued me and I want to read it. Okay, I'm also going to keep The Secretary by Renee Knight. I really liked this. This is about a secretary who will do practically anything for her boss, even if it's doing things that are immoral. And one day she does turn on her boss, and you know that from the beginning. What made her do that? I really enjoyed it. Character thriller. I also loved Blood Wedding. Oh my god, this book. This is about a woman who's a nanny, but she's also incredibly forgetful. She'll forget where she parked her car and all of these things. She decides that she should be a nanny, which is probably not a good idea when you have that kind of brain problem. Anyway, she finds the boy that she takes care of dead, and she thinks, oh my god, I must have done this to him, and is devastated and is on the run, and I loved it. So I'm keeping that. And the last one is a book I'd also like to keep, and it's The Alienist by Caleb Carr. This goes way back. It's 1896, and we are in New York City, and there are these boys being horribly murdered, and we follow a psychologist. It's like the infancy of psychology, and a psychologist is trying to find out who is killing these boys. So Sounds good. So I've got 6 books that I'm getting rid of off of my shelves. I've got 2 books for limbo, but that means I still have one that I need to take off of the ones I wanted to keep. This has not happened to me before. Oh no. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so I've got another one for my limbo shelf, but I have to dwindle it down now to 2 for my limbo shelf instead of 3. So I think I'm gonna put Still Life on my limbo shelf and The Couple Next Door, and then I am going to completely get rid of 7 Days. Unfortunately, it's time to go. So I did okay. That was a bit more stressful than I wanted it to be. But let me know in the comments below if there was a book that I got rid of that you were like, no, don't get rid of that. I mean, it's already gone, I'm sorry to say. But I would love to know what that book was for you. And I will talk with you next time, okay? Bye, guys.